Weight reduction is an integral component of mixed martial arts, correct? It appears we've reached a juncture where the practice of dehydrating oneself to achieve a certain weight category seems almost mandatory. Failing to do so could leave one at a significant disadvantage compared to competitors who do engage in this practice. The landscape of weight classes is dynamic, with numerous fighters adjusting their categories throughout their careers. Several fighters have ascended to higher weight classes, finding the regimen of weight reduction too arduous, while others have descended, reaping the benefits of having a more imposing physical presence in a lower weight class. Notably, we've observed Deiveson Figueiredo, the erstwhile champion of the 125-pound division, ascend to the bantamweight class and make an impressive showing. However, it's not always a straightforward journey for fighters to discover their optimal weight class. In this discussion, we aim to shed light on those fighters who have navigated through various weight classes before finding their ideal fit. Number 10 on the list is Cannonier, a standout figure within the diverse UFC middleweight roster, and a former heavyweight renowned for one of the most remarkable physical transformations in the history of the UFC. Post his military stint in the U.S. Army, Jared joined the Federal Aviation Administration in Itasca, a location that, despite my limited knowledge about it, my familiarity extends mostly to its depiction as a vampire-ridden town in 30 Days of Night, is recognized for its surprisingly vibrant MMA scene. It was here in Anchorage that Cannonier began his fighting career with the AFC, initially weighing over 230 pounds, a weight I find quite understandable given the harsh cold of the region. Claiming the championship title there, he earned his spot in the UFC, debuting at a solid 235 pounds against Sean Jordan. However, this match marked the end of Jared's unbeaten record, as he faced a defeat at the hands of the larger opponent. Despite the setback, and possibly motivated by it, Jared continued his UFC journey, participating in one more heavyweight bout, before deciding to transition to the 205-pound category. Yet, success seemed elusive even in this new category. Standing at 5'11", Jared wasn't particularly towering and often found himself outmatched by taller opponents like Glover Teixeira, John Blachowicz, and Dominic Reyes. His record at light heavyweight, 3 wins against 4 losses, spoke of a challenging period. It was only upon moving down yet another weight class to middleweight that Jared discovered his true competitive edge, realizing that perhaps this was the category he should have been fighting in all along. Number 9 on the list is Dan Hooker, and his journey through various weight classes in his combat sports career, which commenced in 2009, is a testament to his versatility and determination. His career trajectory was initially marked by fluctuations, with Hooker competing in categories as varied as heavyweight, where he triumphed in the King of the Ring middleweight championship in kickboxing. In 2014, Hooker transitioned to the UFC, starting in the featherweight division. His tenure at 145 pounds was challenging, characterized by a mixed record of 3 wins and 3 losses, and difficulties associated with maintaining speed and managing weight cuts. Recognizing the need for change, Hooker ascended to the lightweight division, a decision that would drastically reshape his career trajectory. The shift yielded significant success. Hooker clinched victories in 7 out of his next 8 bouts, his sole defeat in this period at the hands of Edson Barboza. This impressive streak catapulted him into the top 10 of the lightweight division. Even though Hooker briefly revisited the featherweight class, his performances affirmed that the lightweight division is his optimal competitive arena. Next up is Gilbert Burns, a notable figure in the welterweight division of the UFC, yet his journey didn't commence at 170 pounds. With a solid background in combat sports, especially in jiu-jitsu, Burns first stepped into the UFC as a welterweight, securing a victory in his debut. However, he transitioned to the lightweight category, where his performance was somewhat varied, tallying 5 victories and 3 losses. This stint at lightweight included a notable knockout defeat by Dan Hooker. Re-evaluating his strategy, Burns reverted to the welterweight division, where he began to significantly shape the division's landscape. Achieving a streak of 4 consecutive victories, coupled with 2 Performance of the Night awards, Burns swiftly climbed the ranks, ultimately contending for the title against Kamaru Usman. Despite facing tough competition at the top tier of the welterweight class, Burns has solidified his position, marking a level of achievement that eluded him in the lightweight division. Number 7, Kelvin Gastelum, whose career has been somewhat complicated by weight management challenges. Victorious on The Ultimate Fighter, TUF, as a middleweight, Gastelum's stature at 5'9" inches was perceived as slightly undersized for that division. Post-TUF, he shifted to the welterweight division, stringing together a series of 4 wins, albeit not against the division's top-tier fighters. Nonetheless, Gastelum grappled with making the welterweight limit, notably missing weight for a bout against Tyron Woodley and delivering a performance that didn't meet expectations. After repeated struggles with weight, Dana White mandated Gastelum's move back to the middleweight class. His career since then has seen a mix of victories and defeats across both welterweight and middleweight divisions, underscoring the challenges Gastelum faces in pinpointing the weight class where he can consistently perform at his peak. Upon transitioning to the middleweight division, Gastelum began to showcase his prowess, clinching notable wins against prominent fighters such as Tim Kennedy and Vitor Belfort. His commendable performance propelled him into an interim title match against Israel Adesanya, where Gastelum delivered a formidable challenge, marking one of the most demanding bouts of Adesanya's career. Despite opinions from influential figures like Joe Rogan, who suggested that Gastelum should resolve his weight management and make a comeback to the welterweight class, his subsequent showing against Sean Brady in the welterweight division was not particularly impressive. This outcome hinted that Gastelum might actually be more suited to competing in the middleweight class, despite the challenges associated with maintaining the weight for that division. Number 6. Michael Bisping, who embarked on his career in the light heavyweight category, achieving his initial acclaim by winning the Ultimate Fighter within this division. He continued competing as a light heavyweight, notching victories, but also encountering formidable challenges, particularly from adept wrestlers like Matt Hamill and Rashad Evans. This led to a realization for Bisping: the 205 pounds division might not be his optimal battleground. Shifting to middleweight, Bisping faced an initial hurdle with the weight cut, but eventually adapted remarkably well. His perseverance and adaptation paid off handsomely, culminating in him clinching a world title in the middleweight division, a pinnacle he may not have reached had he remained a light heavyweight. Number 5. Chael Sonnen. His MMA journey commenced in the light heavyweight class, where he often found himself up against significantly larger adversaries. His debut UFC bout in the light heavyweight category was marred by defeats, predominantly via submission. A strategic shift to middleweight transformed Sonnen's career trajectory. In this division, his wrestling skills shone brightly, establishing him as one of the formidable contenders of the UFC's middleweight class. He came excruciatingly close to toppling the legendary champion Anderson Silva and secured subsequent rematches, underscoring his prowess. However, a later return to the light heavyweight division revealed that he was generally outmatched in size, hinting that middleweight was indeed the more fitting division for his skill set. Number 4. John Lineker, nicknamed Hands of Stone, initiated his UFC journey in the flyweight division. Despite his undeniable power and impressive performances, Lineker consistently struggled with making the designated weight for his fights, often missing the mark. This weight-cutting challenge seemingly hindered his ability to compete at his utmost against the division's elite. A decision to ascend to the bantamweight division marked a turning point. In this new weight class, Lineker's career trajectory surged. He not only triumphed over 4 adversaries in succession, but also garnered bonuses and secured a title eliminator bout against TJ Dillashaw. Despite exhibiting certain vulnerabilities in that particular fight, Lineker's transition to the bantamweight division proved to be a judicious move, aligning more cohesively with his natural competencies. Lineker's tenure in the bantamweight division was marked by a singular defeat, a narrowly contested split decision against Corey Sandhagen. Subsequently, Lineker's career took a turn when he transitioned to ONE Championship, competing at 145 pounds within a hydration testing framework. This change not only eliminated the need for drastic weight cuts, but also led Lineker to clinch the championship title, signifying that a more natural weight class was indeed more conducive to his performance. Number 3. Shan Strickland, before joining the UFC ranks, had an impeccable record of 13-0, predominantly fighting as a middleweight. His initial phase in the UFC saw him victorious in his first 2 middleweight encounters. However, Strickland then opted to descend to the welterweight division, where he encountered a mixed set of results, including a notable defeat to Santiago Ponzinibbio. While his welterweight track record was respectable with 5 wins against 3 losses, it fell short of propelling him towards a title contention. A motorcycle accident necessitated a hiatus from the sport, after which Strickland made a strategic return to the middleweight class. This comeback was marked by a resurgence, as he dominated his way through a 5-fight winning streak. His performance since rejoining the 185 pounds division, with only 2 losses, implies that middleweight aligns more closely with his natural fighting prowess. Number 2. Charles Oliveira, often referred to as Do Bronx, initiated his combat journey as a welterweight in Brazil before ascending to the lightweight division, where he made a notable entrance into the UFC. Despite early successes, setbacks against fighters like Jim Miller and Donald Cerrone prompted Oliveira to switch to the featherweight category. However, his tenure in featherweight was a mixed bag, marred by challenges in weight management and visibly diminished strength. Consecutive losses and significant weight misses led Oliveira back to the lightweight division, a move that radically transformed his career trajectory. This return was marked by an at number 1. Anthony Johnson, who is famously known as Rumble, is renowned for his striking force in the light heavyweight division. Johnson's career, rooted in a solid wrestling foundation, initially saw him competing in the welterweight class, where he delivered a series of knockout performances. However, the rigors of maintaining the welterweight limit took a toll, with Johnson facing submission defeats by some notable adversaries within the division. A strategic shift through the divisions, finally settling in light heavyweight, allowed Johnson to capitalize on his inherent power without the debilitating effects of extreme weight cutting. This transition catalyzed a more flourishing and impactful phase in Johnson's fighting career. Johnson's career trajectory experienced a significant shift after a substantial weight miss by 11 pounds in the middleweight category, an event that culminated in his departure from the UFC. Following this, he engaged in bouts under the Titan FC banner, yet continued to encounter difficulties in adhering to the 185 pounds limit. Prompted by these challenges, Johnson made a critical decision to ascend to the light heavyweight division. In the ensuing 5 years, Johnson's career saw a remarkable upswing, marked by a series of 11 victories, one of which included a notable triumph in the heavyweight division against Andrei Arlovsky. Upon settling in the light heavyweight class, Johnson's innate power was further amplified, his resistance to takedowns strengthened, and the agility of welterweight opponents no longer posed a significant challenge. These factors collectively solidified his reputation as one of the most formidable knockout artists the sport has ever witnessed. Today, we've delved deep into the world of combat sports, examining the intricate decisions fighters make when changing weight classes. We've analyzed statistics, discussed physiological factors, and even speculated on the strategic advantages. But as we wrap up this insightful journey, we must acknowledge a crucial aspect. While evidence and speculation have guided our discussion, the true essence of these decisions might be locked within the minds and hearts of the fighters themselves. Each fighter's journey is unique, shaped by personal battles, ambitions, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. The physical transformation, the mental preparation, and the emotional resilience required to change weight classes go beyond what statistics can measure. So, perhaps the real story, the most authentic narrative, comes not from data or expert analysis, but from the fighters themselves. Their voices, their experiences, and their truths offer the most genuine insight into the world of combat sports.